Call the meeting to order. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Councilmembers Leach and Fickman are absent. Approval of the agenda. Is there any changes? Council? Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Shellen.
I'll second.
Second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. Approval of the minutes of the December 2nd, 2020 regular meeting. I'll receive them in the packet. Is there any changes, corrections, or clarification needed?
I didn't see anything.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the December 2nd, 2020 meeting?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Diane.
Second.
Second by Shellen. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. This brings us to our public open forum. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to the council? Is there anyone here that would like to speak to the council? Call a third time. Is there anyone that would like to speak to the council? Public open forum is now closed. We have no public hearings. We'll then move on to reports and presentations. Police Department, Brian.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Activity report for November 2020. Some of the numbers we had for that month. We had 6 alarm calls. We did 18 assists for persons. We did 92 assists for businesses. We did 27 assists for other agencies. We had 17 citizen contacts. We had 4 harassment calls, 5 juvenile problem calls, 21 matter of information calls, 21 medicals. We found 6 open doors and windows in businesses. We had 3 missing persons, 8 accidents. We patrolled Walmart 57 times. We had 18 suspicious calls. We had 9 thefts. We had 5 unwanted person calls. We gave out 10 citations for use of wireless communications while driving. We gave out 76 verbal warnings. We had a total activity then of 531. And then compare that to 2019, we were down 49 calls. Warnings gave 100 less about, so we're down 148. And compared to last month, we were down 97 calls. Gave out 14 less warnings for a difference of 111. So that's about it for November. Of course, we had the application deadline to fill our hiring list. That closed last Friday. We had 21 applications. We reviewed them and gone through them, Sergeant Jensen and myself, and hopefully we'll be looking at doing some interviews maybe next week, starting next week. So that's kind of where we're at there.
Good.
Yep. That's all I have.
Questions?
I'm just curious, Chief, with this lockdown and everything that we've been going through this past year, is domestic violence, have you seen a rise in that year?
We've had a rise in assaults and behavioral health kind of calls. Yeah.
Thank you.
Juvenile problem calls, stuff like that.
Thank you, Chief.
Yep.
Okay.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public Works Department, Ben?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. For streets, this past month, we did spend one day filling in some potholes that opened up with the temperature swings. We did utilize a new cold mix that we're trying out this year. Seems to be working better, especially with that new hot mix trailer. So we hope to be able to continue that throughout the winter as things progress and open up some more. We did have 2 ice events that required standing by the trucks, but other than that, it was pretty quiet besides those early October snowstorms. So we've saved some money on snow removal anyways this past month. Christmas lights were installed the week of Thanksgiving. There are a few park displays that did not get put up due to the lights not working on those displays and the high cost of replacing the controllers. So I know I've talked to Pam about that, and she's working on trying to fundraise to replace some of that stuff. So hopefully next year we can get more of that put up. We did install 2 new safe zone parking spot signs. The second sign is coming. The one is up. Both posts are in the City Hall parking lot. That is monitored by the camera system on the building 24 hours a day, and that is for any type of exchange that would need to happen between people, whether that be child custody or if you sold something online, something like that. At least it's monitored. Brian talked to me about that, and we worked together to get that up. The new drop spreader was used on those ice events on the sidewalks and trails. This certainly worked much more efficiently. It got the job done quicker and used a heck of a lot less salt, so that's been a nice addition. The arena has been closed down for the past 3 weeks, so we did take advantage of that, and we finished the new bathroom dividers that were installed upstairs, and the bathrooms are all done at the arena now. And then we did move to the campground and middle park bathrooms and installed all of the dividers in those areas as well, since the weather was nice. So all the dividers that we purchased are in and completed, and we're just prepping to open back up the arena on January 4th. Now it sounds like that's when practice can resume after today's announcement. The campground, the weather did cooperate the last week, and we were able to complete some of the site work that we were working on before it snowed in October. And then we're doing some tree trimming, and removal is also taking place currently. The outdoor rink, we did start on that this week. We've been spraying water and getting things to freeze up. It hasn't been as cold as we would like, but it is working. It's not going to be ready for this weekend. It does look like 30 to 40 degrees a couple days this weekend, but hopefully by next weekend it will be ready to skate on. So that's what we're hoping for, as long as the weather cooperates with us. The picnic table repair and maintenance is ongoing when we're not working on other projects. The library needed a few repairs to the boiler heating system and went down. It was just a couple air dampers, so it was nothing major, but that did get repaired and is working again. And then we started doing some tree removal in the parks now that the ground is frozen up and there's no snow to contend with. And then we'll continue on to streets, trimming up trees that are starting to overgrow and be low hanging. And that's everything for the past month.
Any questions, comments?
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Move on to action items. 7A, approve resolution 2020-112, establishing 2021 administrative fee schedule.
So this resolution in front of you is for administrative fees. This is for 2021. You have the complete list in there along with the date of the last change. Administrative fees are things like special assessment search fees, renting the council chambers, renting T-hangers at the airport, all our equipment charges for the Public Works Department is listed on there, and like animal fees, boarding fees, campground fees, all those types of things are included in the fee schedule. And every year the fee schedule must be adopted and renewed according to resolution. So we have that resolution in front of you, 2020-112. We did not have a lot of changes or recommendations. We had some minor campground fees, which the park board had recommended earlier, and the ambulance did a $10 change on their advanced life support transfers.
Questions? Comments? Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2020-112?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Diane. I'll second it. Call the question. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. 7B, approve resolution 2020-113, establishing 2021 schedule of penalties.
So this is the second of 3 types of fee or fine schedules that we're going to adopt tonight. This one here is voluntary penalties, they're called, because they're violations of the city code and you can pay the fine versus a criminal offense. And so some of those issues are violations for alcohol and cigarette related, zoning permit violations, nuisance violations, and let me see, we have some other animal impound, that type of thing, are violations that are administrative penalties, meaning they're a violation of the city code, not the criminal code. And so that is before you tonight, and that is Resolution 2020-113.
Questions, comments? Do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2020-113?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Shallen, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Diane. Call the question, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. 7C, approve ordinance 797 establishing 2021 fee schedule for licenses/permits.
This is the third type of fee that we have, which is for licenses and permits, and this is adopted by ordinance versus resolution. The types of things that are included in that are liquor license fees, garbage hauler license, building code fees for building permits or applications for zoning. Those are the kinds of items that are actually included in this license, permit, and service fee. And that is ordinance 797, reaffirming the fees for our license, permits, and services.
Questions, comments? Do I have a motion to approve ordinance number 797?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Diane, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Shallen. Call the question, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. 7D, approve ordinance 798, authorizing summary of publication of ordinance.
So what you just adopted was ordinance 797, which does require publication. And so what we're asking is ordinance 798, authorizing us to publish in summary versus publishing the whole schedule. So what this just does is authorize the summary publication of 797 that summarizes and reaffirms the fees for the city.
Any questions on that?
No.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve ordinance 798?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Diane, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Shallen. Call the question, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. 7E, approve board and commission appointments. That one there, we've got one person running for the park board, is Barry Johnson. One person running for planning commission, which is Kenneth Easky. We have 2 positions to be appointed for the public utilities commission, Ted Spanier and Jeff Romanshenko will both put their names in the hat. Senior Center Board, Bonnie Service is the only one who could apply. Convention and Visitors Bureau, Pam Durbin, and I think Annette.
Hers came in late today. That'll be on the next one.
Okay.
Unless you want to add it on tonight, I don't have the form, the application here.
So you did have, she's been on the board before, we didn't get the paperwork right away. So let's add her on.
Okay.
Annette Hennekamp. And then Airport Commission would be Joe DeVitro. And then the Center Care, Sauk Center Board is Joe Hoppus. Basically, we've got this number of people we need to fill each of the spots. So those are the ones I recommend as mayor to fill this position.
I think we're still going to be one short on the park board, chief.
Year.
Because Ryan Brownkey.
We'll actually have 2 short, we have 2 vacancies on the park board.
Okay.
Right, 2 positions still open.
And probably still one on the planning commission too, correct?
And the planning commission will have a vacancy as well.
After next month, yeah. So, yeah, you're right. But for right now, my recommendation is to appoint these people to their positions in each one of them boards. So, is there any questions or concerns?
No.
Do I have a motion then to appoint those people to their appointments?
I'd make that motion.
Motion by Shallen, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Diane. Call the question. question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. 7F, approve labor agreements, public works.
So the Personnel Committee and representatives from Teamsters Local 320, the Public Works Unit, they have met and have a tentative agreement for the proposed contract renewal for the 3 years of 2021, 2022, and 2023. The Public Works Unit did vote on December 9th, and it's pending approval by the City Council. I'll give you kind of the highlights of the negotiations that was changed. They do have a holiday pay increase for New Year's Day, Thanksgiving Day, and Christmas Day. We are paying out the sick leave bank and discontinuing the sick leave bank policy on January 1st. You'll get 1 additional hour of vacation when your sick leave balance is at the maximum accrued. And the sick leave balance that you do have will be paid out upon retirement after 10 years of service at 30%. A funeral leave or bereavement was raised to 5 days versus 3 and adds step relations. A vacation accrual begins at 3.1 hours. That means that per pay period for the first year. So what that basically does is took it up from 40 hours to 80 hours. That it's from 1 week to 2 weeks for your first year. Rest periods are now referred to as breaks. Prescription safety glasses can be reimbursed 1 time per the contract period at $350. Safety boots per year reimbursed at $250, that's up from $200, and not to be revisited in the next contract. They have a wage increase of 3% per year. We removed grade 11, which was the foreman. We no longer have that position. And then they removed gender-specific pronouns, Roman numerals, and fixed typos. So there was quite a few different things that we did clean up on the contract this year. And so the committee is recommending approval of the proposal for the contract renewal for Teamsters Local 320 Public Works Unit as presented.
Questions? Anything you're wondering about? We got everything, the language is all cleaned up in the contract then at the Senate?
Yes, she sent me the red line version, and we've been going back and forth and making those corrections and make sure we're in agreement with everything.
Okay, and then we got an MOU on safety boots?
Right, that'll be a separate thing,
Okay.
because we can't have it in this contract, something that binds us for that future contract.
Okay.
So,
Any other questions? Do I have a motion to approve the proposal for the contract renewal for Teamsters Local 320 Public Works Unit as presented?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Diane, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Sean. Any other discussion? Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. 7G, approve labor agreement amendments for the police department.
So the police unit as well had a tentative agreement, which they just voted on the other day, and they are recommending that we move forward with it. A couple of things that are different on theirs. Some of these are similar to Public Works, and there's a few different ones. The court callback time, if it's your day off and you're supposed to go to court, if it's canceled in that last 24 hours, you get 4 hours of pay at time and a half for that. Holiday pay is as well on New Year's, Thanksgiving Day, and Christmas Day is at the 2 times rate of pay versus time and a half. They also have the sick leave bank payout on January 1st. The sick leave balance to be paid at retirement at 30%. What we do is we accrue a certain amount, and the bank was over that, and over that we're getting rid of, and then what you do accrue has a value. We'll have 1 additional vacation if sick leave is at maximum accrual. Funeral leave was extended to the 5 days. The vacation accrue in that first year went from 40 hours to 80 hours for that first year. And then we had to clarify the maximum vacation accrual in the police. It had some Roman numerals in there that didn't make sense. The one thing that you did vote for was the duty weapon will be furnished by the city beginning next year versus the officers owning their own weapon. Their longevity increase will be after 20 years of service versus 25. They're changing their gender pronouns as well, removing Roman numerals, and this as well will be a 3-year contract. So what we're looking here to is approve that proposal for the contract renewal for the Local 320 Police Unit as presented.
Questions, concerns? Do I have a motion to approve? proposal for the contract renewal for the Teamsters Local 320 Police Unit as presented.
Make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Shelley, second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. Approve pay rates and benefit amendments for non-union.
With both the union contracts settled, the council should also look at the non-union wage. As in an effort to maintain pay equity compliance, the city has in the past offered the same pay scale changes to non-union as to union. Therefore, it's recommended the non-union pay scale be advanced by 3% per year, commensurate with the union. There's a couple other things in the non-union. The one would be the sick leave bank payout on 1/1 of 21. There's 2 non-union employees that do have a sick leave bank that would be paid out, and then that policy would be the same across the board. That the sick leave balance at retirement after 10 years to be paid at 30% is again the same as Public Works. The salary at 3% year, and then also the vacation accrual during that first year goes from 1 week to 2 weeks. You know, we don't have anybody in our first year, but in the event we have future hires, it would be the same. Those are only the 4 things for the non-union that would be changed and that is recommended. So we're looking to approve the pay scale and benefit amendments for the non-union as presented.
Questions, concerns? Basically, they're not in the union, but they're getting union benefits. You know, in a roundabout way. So, do I have a motion to approve the pay scale and benefit amendments for the non-union employees?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Diane, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Shelley. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. 7I, approve resolution 2020-114 authorizing bids for fish cleaning house.
So at the direction and request of the Park Board, plans were being drafted for the construction of a new fish cleaning house at the public access. The old fish cleaning house in the campground will then be removed from service and allow for the construction of the new bathroom. The new fish cleaning house will be larger. It'll have a wash sink and a central grinder. It is proposed to be constructed similar to the campground office, with the interior lined with milk house board and epoxy flooring, and this will be much easier for sanitizing and cleaning. You have the option of an auto lock on the door and also a small bathroom, which would be for use by public access and beach. The picture you have here shows that small bathroom. We will have to enlarge that to be handicap accessible according to the building code. The location will be in the grass area at the public access to the north of that willow tree. We will be putting in a tank which will discharge into the sanitary sewer manhole at the lower entrance to the campground. Estimates are being obtained. We estimate it to be approximately $45,000. The city will act as a general contractor, and Sauk Center Conservation Club has offered to participate in the project to kind of up it to this design. And the Park Board recommends the project proceed. So what we're looking for tonight is just to approve the plans and authorize the bids for the construction of the fish cleaning house. If you have any questions, Ben is the one that's to ask.
Questions, comments? Okay. We have a motion to approve resolution 2020-114.
I make a motion.
I'll second it.
Motion by Shelley, second by Diane. Last minute comments? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. 7J, approve resolution 2020-115 authorizing submittal of grant application.
So in your packet today, I have a couple drafts of some schematics of potential layout and then a resolution 2020-15 or 115. At the last EDA meeting, Heidi Pepper from Stantec met with them regarding a potential grant opportunity for the development of the Unger 59 acres into an industrial park. It would include the infrastructure needed to run water, sewer, storm, build the roads for the new industrial park, and provide for future development to the north and to the west. The grant is the BDI grant, which is a business development infrastructure grant, and it was funded in the recent bonding bill at the legislature and is dedicated to Greater Minnesota. So we're not competing with the metro area for this grant. However, it is competitive, and when the funds are depleted, there will be no additional funding unless the legislature determines to do it again in the future. The total cost, this is a broad brush estimate, is 2.9 million. Of that, 2.2 are hard costs. The city would be eligible for half of those costs, or 1.1 million. The balance, or 1.8, would be a city cost and would be funded through an internal loan or a bond issue to be repaid through lot sales or levy. The city would need to demonstrate that the money is in the bank at the time of the application, because we looked at this and it really doesn't make sense to bond for a project that you don't know that you're going to do. So it might be a better option to commit funds internally until the project would move forward. And I did talk to our bond counsel, and he was running some numbers for me to see what that will look like. The next step, if the council wishes to proceed, would be to complete the grant application and submit it to the state. There's generally a 1-month application period and then another 2 months to get a response. This would give the city time to decide prior to spring if the project would continue. If we do enter into a grant in agreement, we would need to commence the work within 18 months. So potentially 2022 or later 2021, this project could move forward if you decide to do it. I think it's all going to hinge on whether or not we obtain $1.1 million from the state. So what we're looking for tonight is to approve the resolution authorizing us to submit the Business Development Infrastructure Grant application.
Questions?
At this point, what I'm understanding is it's just submitting the grant to see if we can get the part from the state. We're
Right,
not committing anything at this point.
What happens if we are awarded the grant, then we have a period to do a grant agreement and to commit the funds. But we have to demonstrate in the application that we have funds in the bank and available. So, I mean, we would, at this point, just have internal funding that we would commit to the project. And then if we do move forward with the project and decide to bond, then that would basically pay ourselves for what we had committed.
Sure.
So this doesn't mean we're going to do the project. This means we're seriously consider the project if we get the grant. I don't want to just apply for it and then say we never planned on doing
Sure.
it anyway. I want the council to realize that this is a commitment, not a final commitment, but you would seriously consider this project if we are awarded the grant.
Any other questions, comments? This area here, basically, if we're gonna get half of it covered by the state,
Right.
is this gonna benefit the city as far as expanding? And getting more tax base on the industrial side or whoever goes out in that area. So it's something that we've been talking about ever since we acquired the property, and I think that the money's there. We should at least try to obtain it.
Yep,
So,
I agree.
with that, do I have a motion to approve resolution 2020-115?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Motion by Diane, I'll second it. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 3 in favor, none against. 7K, consider extending ice removal date.
Because the youth sports was closed by Governor Wall's executive order, the arena has remained vacant and it's not being used, although we've been maintaining the ice. The original order said that they could reconvene on December 21st, but today we learned that it will be January 4th when they can go back and start practice on the ice. So we've been asked by the Hockey Association if we would extend the time for removing the ice later into the season. You know, in the past years, we take it out the end of February or the first part of March. We have to get ready because we have different events happening in the arena, which we don't have this year, and also weather plays into a part of that. So what they're asking us if we would consider extending the ice removal date through March, which is basically an extra month. They do have a commitment to so much ice time that they need to buy. But at this point, we are not even really talking about that. They're just wondering, will the city consider continuing the ice later in the year, knowing that it's a little more work to keep it in there when it gets warmer, but we believe that it's reasonable to expect to be able to keep it in through March. If it gets too much later than that with the warm weather, it might be more difficult.
Questions? One question I got is, Bob, you know, I suppose it depends on outside temperature, but approximately how much a day is it costing us to maintain the ice? Are we gonna, whether they pay for it or not, or is it something that we're gonna end up losing on? We all know the civic arena isn't a moneymaker for the city, so.
Right, during the winter months, it costs about $4,000 a month just in electricity to run the compressors and keep the ice cold. So a little bit warmer, obviously it's going to be a little bit more. I mean, I don't have any data for what March is because we don't have
that they're gonna pay for the hours even if we leave it in. Okay, so it's kind of a wash. Okay. I'm just trying to figure out whether or not it's worth us to keep it in and then it gets warm halfway through March and everybody wants to get outside and do their own thing, and then all of a sudden we got 2 weeks where the ice isn't getting used again, and then.
Sure.
And this whole situation is nobody's fault, but.
I mean, I know one thing, the schedule is set ahead of time, so whatever the schedule is, that's what they're getting billed for, whether they have 1 kid or 20 kids. So that's one positive, I guess, to that is.
Okay, so if we do extend it, they're gonna get the bill for the extension in one way or the other. Okay. Any other concerns? What's the council's wishes? Do you want to approve the extension of the ice removal date or not?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to extend it.
Okay, we have a motion by Diane to extend the ice time. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Shallon. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. Thank you, Ben. Unfinished business, cleaning services contract.
Just one item of unfinished business to remind me, we did advertise for cleaning services. That's been advertised on December 3rd and 10th. As the applications come in, we'll probably look at those at the January 20th council meeting, so it'll be a little bit of time yet. But we had a few people have applied, and they yet have to come in, and they're going to go through the facilities and kind of make their estimates. So we do have some interest out there. We'll see what happens.
Okay. New business, offered to donate industrial park storm pond to city.
Just an item of new business. There's no action on it tonight. Sauk Center Opportunities, they're the owner of outlets A and B in the industrial park. These are the storm ponds. They've extended an offer to the city to donate those ponds to the city. We had some concerns over the donations as they've not been maintained over the years, and there's work needs to be done. There's a lot of sediment that's built up into the ponds. Sauk River Watershed obtained an estimate of $4,500 to conduct borings to determine the original elevation and to find the bottom. But we know those were wetlands before. I don't know what kind of bottom they're going to find, but I think it would be prudent for us to at least know what potential costs could be to take care of those ponds in the future before we would entertain an offer to accept those. So it may be appropriate for the city to own those in the future so we can make sure they continue to be maintained and that they continue to operate. But I think it might be a wise idea for us to spend a little money first up front to determine what we're actually getting into. I thought I would get more of a formal estimate from the watershed and bring that back to you at the January meeting. I just wanted you to be aware that this is going on because there's a lot of different parties involved, and I'm sure people are talking a little bit about it, and so you know what is happening. So, but on January 6th, I should have some more information for you, and at that point, we can decide whether we want to proceed.
Okay. Any questions on that? No. All right. Well, then bring us to our consent agenda. We have scheduled claims, unpaid claims of $35,815.91. That's, I've got updated numbers, so it's not going to match with what you have here. For a total of the same, and paid claims of payroll $423,100.47. Do I have a motion, or is there any discussion as far as the consent agenda? Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Sean, do I have a second? Second. Second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. No informational items. We will now go into a closed session. So we close out of our closed session. We are now back into our regular session of the council meeting. In closed session, we discussed the possibility of a purchase of a piece of the property of the interpretive center. With that, do I have a motion to authorize the city council to file a letter of intent for that purchase.
Motion
I
approved.
know Vicki will have to use it tomorrow, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Motion approved.
We have a motion by Diane, do I have a second?
I'll second.
By Shelley. Any other comments? Otherwise, call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. That now brings us to the end of our agenda. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Diane, I'll second it. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3 in favor, none against. Meeting adjourned.